Oh my God, what the hell is this? He's gonna try it! And will this be enough? My God,
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Ruckus Wrastlin. I am Josh Mabry, alongside my tag team partner in this journey, Justin Toner. How are we doing, sir?
Doing good, man. Very interesting. It's like I was like, well, what's gonna happen this week? Because like so much stuff, we had so much to talk about last time. It's like, well, there's news, not like huge news, but you know, there's news to talk about, but nothing like what happened with Punk and all that, and all other stuff that happened. But oh, it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting to say the least. In this, and it never slows down. But I never thought we'd be kicking off by talking about the slang term "yeet," but here we are. Who knew? That, I mean, it took off, and it pissed off Roman, and it pissed off Roman so much he must have told that other wrestler that trademarked it, hey, get this thing off of WWE television altogether.
Yeah.
Because it came out that Casey Huffman, I've got the article pulled up. Maybe you can pull it up as well.
Never heard
but
of him.
Casey Huffman filed Yeet and Yeet Movement trademarks back in 2021. So, Therefore, Jey Uso cannot use Yeet anymore on branding or even saying it without, I guess, legal action. He even was on what's their after show that they do on Peacock?
It's Raw Talk.
The Bump. I'm sorry, The Bump. He was on the bump, and he even said he was like he did that motion. He couldn't even say it on the bump. For that, in the package leading up to his match with Seth Rollins, his shirt was blurred out.
Yeah.
So what's going to be the new catchphrase for main event Jey Uso? And this is kind of odd that they just now found out that's been filed for all the lawyers and all the much money they have on retainer and all the trademark stuff that they go through. The fact that they did not know that this is already trademarked is kind of surprising.
Yeah, it really is. You'd think someone would have done some research just to be sure. I guess they just didn't think that it was something that was possibly trademarked or anything. But unfortunately for WWE, it is. This other wrestlers got it trademarked, so it's like, Jay can't use the word or have merch that has it on it. So it's like, because I was wondering, I was like, where's the Yeet? And then I saw that the Yeet was blurred out in the shirt, and I was like, uh-oh, something's wrong. And so, then I saw the news article that they're like, it's trademarked. They can't use it. Like,
right.
It's a bummer because the fans liked it. I mean, it's like, I'm sure he'll come up with something.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. One word is not going to change how over he is.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's good there. According to the article, it's suspended. Again, this is just me reading the article and still trying to interpret because I am not a lawyer, nor am I one. We can talk to in our fantasy football league. I can talk to a resident lawyer there to figure out what trademark laws are and how you get around them because they're only good for a certain amount of time, and then they come up, and if you don't renew them. So, legal fees and all that stuff. But apparently the Yeet shirt is still, according to the article, the Yeet shirt is still available. But once they're gone, they're gone. They're not going to make any more. So I guess they were able to at least sell them. So on that. But you can't say it anymore, which is weird. You can't even say it on TV.
Yeah, it's tricky stuff. I mean, look what happened when Edge left WWE and went to AEW. He can use R-Rated Superstar because WWE forgot to renew the copyright on R-Rated Superstar, so he can still use that as a moniker in AEW. It's like because someone forgot to renew the copyright. It's like,
yeah. On there, another thing, our favorite former pure owner of WWE, Vince McMahon. He just can't. I mean, he gets clicks. But they did bring up that he's still involved with the company and trademark, right? Endeavor, sorry, Endeavor, not trademark.
Yeah.
You just said trademark. It's in my head. Endeavor, it still has a good relationship, whatever that means.
Yeah.
I don't. Do you think this is? And the only reason I bring this up is, do you think that there's no way he's going to weasel himself back in, or do you think this is him just trying to buy his time, or you think it's just a nothing burger?
I think it's just nothing burger because it's like he knows not to stir the boat. He still has power, but he doesn't. He's not the boss anymore. So, which is a good thing because Ari Emanuel and him have a good relationship. He is the one who told Vince to back off and let Triple H run the kitchen and cook instead of keep interfering with creative. And he's a smart man because he saw that the interference was causing problems, and it's like you don't try to fix what isn't broken. So, and this, we've talked about it. The creative right now is some of the best that WWE's had in quite a while. Not everything clicks, but the majority of the stuff they're doing is working. It's like you got so many super baby faces over right now. It's incredible. It's like it's an embarrassment of riches. They got like multiple guys who are on the face side that are just like really over with the fans. It's like and plenty of heels that are getting booed. I mean, Dirty Dominic Mysterio is still getting booed out of the building, man. So it's
yeah.
I mean, it felt even kind of more louder because of the smaller crowd when he showed up on NXT last night. It felt louder because NXT's got the smaller crowd, but it's like they were very vocal. I was like, oh my god, am I gonna be able to even hear him speak?
Right.
So, but yeah, no, I think it's another way right now. It's just people are speculating because they put out the filing publicly that Vince is considered a potential future liability because of ongoing investigations of previous lawsuits. So it's I think Vince is basically doing like the smart thing and just like laying low and not really rocking the boat, and hoping that the federal investigation and other stuff will eventually blow over.
Right. Another thing I wanted to touch on is the one rated the RKO himself, the Legend Killer. I almost said Rated R Superstar just because of Randy Orton. But no, Randy Orton. Obviously, he's back, and we'll get into kind of what all the goings on that Randy or Daddy's back, as Randy says. It's going to be that's one of the top 5 selling shirts this week as reports coming out. Yep, he's number 5, I think. That Daddy's home or Daddy's
I know
back.
Punk stuff shot right to numero uno right off the bat, which is no surprise.
Yeah, number 2 is LA Knight still with the shirt. So
I think I think Cody's still in like the top 5.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that with the well, I guess we'll talk about it now. Cody in I think it was last month or October or something, like the past couple months. 1 month he had the highest selling merch of any wrestler in the history in like that month.
No surprise.
So on that, but yes, anyway, so Randy, which is still crazy. So when people sit there and say, "Oh, you shouldn't put the title on him,"
I know there's some people that are like kind of like annoyed with Cody, but it's like he's still mega over, and the fans love him. It's very obvious. I think it's more just an annoyance that I think. The real annoyance is for people is that they felt that he should have won last Mania, and that now we have to wait until WrestleMania 40 in a few months to hopefully see him win the title finally. It's like, so like everything else in between has felt like filler, but it's been good filler. Like the Brock feud had its ups and downs, but
that last match was really good. The last match,
the SummerSlam match was excellent. It ended on a good note. The feud with last few months with Judgment Day has been a good thing, and now they've transitioned to Nakamura and go into more detail because Nakamura revealed his mental reasoning why he is after Cody, and it actually kind of makes sense and it's very interesting storyline wise.
Yeah, but yeah, just getting back into Randy Orton was recently on Impulsive, the Logan Paul. depending on how you think of them. It's always a fun. Anytime those wrestlers go on either with Logan Paul or Chris Van Fleet. Well, Chris Van Fleet's a little bit shorter, but anytime they let the curtain pull back the curtain, one would say. Now they don't pull back the curtain as much on Logan Paul as they do on Rogan, but like Rogan, sometimes he just sticks on one topic and goes with it, like Kurt Angle and his injuries and Percocet and all that stuff and his amateur wrestling, because that's what Rogan's world is amateur wrestling, MMA type stuff. So they talked about that more. But anytime you pull back the curtain, it's always really good. And the main thing that the first quote I want to get from the show is when we talked about Vince McMahon and now Triple H's tenure is taken over. And this quote really stuck out to me as far as how it just really goes to how the morale of the locker room is up and how everyone, as far as the reports go, and you can understand, but this makes sense on understanding why other than just coming out and saying it. It's a long quote, so I'll pull it up here and share. But he basically says on Triple H is in charge of making sure wrestlers spend more time with their family, which is definitely every wrestling doc you ever watch is, Stone Cold gave up, they were saying to be on top, you've got to sacrifice family with divorces, not being around your kids, and like Stone Cold and like all these like
missing
old
birthdays
school wrestlers,
and holidays,
missing birthdays and all that stuff. And it now Triple H is putting more, which is kind of when, as far as the CM Punk thing, this kind of goes back to 10 years ago where Triple H was like, no, you got to work. At least this is from what CM Punk said. Triple H is telling him. Now, whether or not Triple H was the messenger, they know they didn't get along. Who knows? But Triple H said, I've changed. He's changed. Well, the big change is the health scare that Triple H went through. And this, he kind of says here, quote, I think recently for him, because he had the health scare and everything, I think he realizes how important family time is. And that's one thing that's changed. Back in the day, you were missing birthdays, missing anniversaries, missing holidays. There was really no either way about it. You weren't going to ask for time off. Now there's leniency there. Now he'll make sure you can get home for the birth of your baby, or he'll make sure that you can get home for that birthday because he understands how now how important that is. I think company-wide, that's been a change for the better, which that was never the thing. It's like wrestling is your life, the business is your life, but that makes sense based on the fact that that was how Vince McMahon, like Vince McMahon, the business was his life.
Yeah.
And he took his kids everywhere. They grew up in it because he wasn't leaving the business. But so if he makes that sacrifice and he leads by example, therefore he thinks that you should be able to do that too. Yep. And if he's paying you and he's there, then why aren't you there? It's kind of one of those things. Whereas Triple H now, I remember his interview with Stephen A. Smith when he first came in and admitted about how bad it got with his heart attack and his cardiac issues. And now he has a defibrillator and he's done with wrestling. And it really took, when you have those type of scares, you mentally change. Because, he was all about the business. He understood it. I remember that first Tough Enough season where he did the scared straight speech. And he was like, you either want this business or you don't. That one guy quit because he's like, I can't miss my family. And now Triple H is like, all right, you can't miss your family. And it's just time and life events happen. This is a very interesting turn from what the wrestling business has been known for.
Yeah. Yeah. And, when I heard about this, I was like, well, that really makes sense, especially with some of the trends we've seen lately. I mean, when something like that happens, you kind of reevaluate what your priorities are in life, and, he's been married to Stephanie for some time now. They have 3 daughters who are growing up, and so he's a family man himself, and he definitely, I think, understands that, this is, we're in the wrestling business, but we can, doesn't have to be 365. We can be able to make accommodations so that some guys can take time off, and which is something that's been said for a long time. It's like, it shouldn't be like that because, it's like, it puts a lot of wear and tear on the body and on the psyche, it's like, so I think this is a really good thing to hear, Randy saying that. And we've seen within the last year, some of the big name wrestlers just taking a break, not, taking time off, not because they're injured, just because that, hey, I kind of need a breather. Charlotte took one. I I think it was after Mania she took a break. Bianca took a break after she after SummerSlam. Only recently came back just before War Games. AJ Styles was written off TV. Taken out by the Bloodline for a break. It's like he's about to come back from what all the reports are saying that he should be back on SmackDown tomorrow night. Because like he wasn't really injured. He wasn't really injured, so it's like I was like, well, maybe he just wanted some time off. So, we're seeing that too. It's like that they're making accommodations to give people a little bit of a breather, which is a good thing. Mm-hmm. And so this is really welcome news. It's right. Like, and something like this also, like Randy was saying, it increases the morale. It's like in the locker room. This is also important.
Right, because if you're mentally not there, the product stinks and makes it trickles through the locker room. Yeah, of that morale just of you being down, especially if you're one of those bigger, like up, Randy obviously being one of the leaders of the locker room, as Kevin Owens states. I think Randy just understands it and he takes it on now, especially from where he's grown. Obviously, you've been in the business. He's like 22 years into his tenure with WWE, not counting OVW, but he's just, I think he just came to that role just kind of how Undertaker became that role, just because he went out there and still did his thing and became professional. Whereas, how immature he was when he first even got to WWE, even though he was good. It was just, him missing that meeting with Undertaker when he's going to be in WrestleMania is still crazy.
Yeah, I mean, also sometimes wrestlers can get burned out. Like one of the most famous examples is back in 2019, Sasha Banks was really burned out with how things were being, she was being booked, and then her and Bayley losing the tag titles at WrestleMania right after they won them at the Elimination Chamber, when they finally brought the tag titles back, which is something they'd been pushing for to help boost the women's division. And she was ready to quit, but Vince is said allowed her to have some time off to take a break and reassess things, and it helped. She took some time off, and it really helped her. And then she came back refreshed, ready to go, and came back and went right into a really good feud with Becky Lynch at the time when she came back after SummerSlam. So that's a classic example of that. The wrestlers do need that kind of stuff. So I'm glad that Triple H is making more allowances like that for wrestlers who kind of
It's a good thing to hear that, because we've all worked for those companies where it felt like the company that was supposed to be your life according to the company, rather than the company giving you a decent life as far as financially and all that stuff.
Yeah, because the other thing is that because of during the pandemic time, during the Thunderdome, since they weren't doing it in front of live crowds, they only were doing the TV shows. House shows were not happening. They got to spend more time with their families. It's like they did Raw, they went home, and it's and the only other time they have to worry about working on the weekend was for a pay-per-view. It's like, so Kevin Owens, a lot of people talked about that. One of the blessings in disguise about the heights of the COVID pandemic was that, it sucked that they weren't able to perform in front of a live audience in the arena, but it, on the plus side, allowed them to spend more time with their family, and their kids. So.
Yeah. And this kind of news makes sense on why Will Ospreay was actually hearing what WWE had to say, because that was a big thing with him. He didn't want to be that. He knew if he signed up with WWE, he was making, because the Young Bucks, and as far as them changing, they did. I mean, him and Kenny and all that. I mean, they changed the wrestling business, saying that WWE wasn't the it all be all as far as being able to provide for your family, and make money. As far as the indies, now it's a very small group of those type of wrestlers compared to if you did go with WWE. But Will Ospreay was one of those where he didn't have to go to WWE if he didn't want to, even though that is, if a wrestler, that is a mecca thing. That's just kind of a kind of Jade Cargill and all this stuff. But you can understand now with this, at least this quote from Randy, of that's probably why Will Ospreay at least heard what they had to say. Now, at the end of the day, the relationship was built too deep with Tony for him to go away. But you understood why that, because a lot of times, I mean, I remember Will Ospreay It was like, you think he's going to WWE? And he was like, no, bruv, I don't want anything to do with that because of how they're scheduled.
Yeah, that's why people were shocked when he said that he's like, if WWE calls me up, I'm willing to listen. And people are like, whoa. It's like,
yeah. So he was big on that. So that makes sense there.
Yeah.
A couple other things to touch on. Obviously, for all watching, please go listen to. It's on YouTube. I can't believe I'm promoting a Logan Paul product, but it is a good interview. Also with interview with Seth Rollins, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. I think he had a Roman interview as well. I think I think he did another one, but at least this is the most recent one that he released last week, I believe. And these are the quotes that I'm just getting from them that kind of stuck out. The other one is the big injury. Obviously, that took him off on the shelf for 18 months. He got the heel. Obviously, he's come back looking shredded, yoked.
Yeah, he did have 2 fusions on his back, which is like,
yeah. And he was saying that like he couldn't hardly sit for very long on a plane. He said his feet would go numb and had a shooting pain down his leg. So it's that sciatic nerve type of back injury where it's shooting. He couldn't hardly sit. All that stuff like that. Another thing too, when they asked him about the RKO coming for it. Remember, he didn't have the RKO before he got that shoulder injury that really made him step up his like it's 34.5%, healed those check-ins or whatever that he did. Well, the thing is because his shoulders were so shot, he hardly could lift people up. So like those finishers that people had to like actually lift and put over his shoulder and something like that, it was like, why not do something else? So that's why he decided to do. That's what led to him doing the RKO or a version of the cutter.
Yeah,
because he didn't have to lift somebody.
It's a variation on the cutter.
Yeah, it's a variation of the cutter, but that's why that's kind of what went into it is because his shoulder was shot. And I guess he said the other shoulder, his shoulders are terrible. Basically, long story short, even early in his career. So that's why a lot of times he says, you really don't see me like Ray. He was like, yeah, Rey Mysterio, I can, slam him and do like but you really don't see me like slam people all the time and like lift people up and do really big power moves. You really don't.
Yeah, you can do a power slam, because he's using the momentum of them coming off the ropes.
Yeah, and so a lot of his moves are not real big, power lift him up over his.
Yeah, he's not tossing guys around. It's very. He went more technical.
Yeah. We will. Thanks for joining in here, Giff.
What's up?
We'll definitely touch on that here. We have a couple of other things you put on here that we want to touch on as far as injuries.
Yeah.
What else we got for injuries?
Injuries suck.
Yeah. So we've got Kevin Owens injured his hand against Grayson Waller. Did they say how bad that was?
I think there was like fractures. Let me double check. But yeah, it's like it was very obvious. Like if you were watching the match on SmackDown, that he hurt his hand. Let's see here.
Yeah, because I mean, you can easily. I don't know how bad it is. It's where it hopefully doesn't require surgery or anything like that. Because typically you can kind of get through those. But I mean, he was basically going to be the one that's going for the U.S. title with the way it looked.
It sounds like Dave Meltzer's saying it's not that serious and that it's more just add to the storyline. That he may have actually hurt his hand, but it's not too serious. But they're maybe exaggerating how injured it is, so he can't punch Theory and Waller in the face anymore. So we'll see. But so hopefully it's not too serious. Hopefully he's not going to miss any TV time because he's awesome.
No, the injury that does suck is Wes Lee. Yeah. How bad is? I mean, I know it's 8 to 12 months is what they said, right?
Yeah, that's what Vic said on NXT the other night, that if he's got the kind of back surgery that he is going to have, they didn't give any specifics on. He didn't get into too specifics on what exactly is the back injury. Like where is it? Is like upper, lower? Is it vertebrae? Does it need to get a fusion? We're not sure yet. It's just that it's like it must have happened in the 4-way match he had with Grimes, Gargano, and Bronson Reed or something, because he was perfectly fine before that match the week before. So Vic said that the surgery that he's going to have to get, the recovery time is normally 8 to 12 months. So we may not be seeing him until like fall of next year. So it really sucks because he just came back. He had they took him off TV for a while, part of the angle with losing the North American title to Dom Mysterio, and then he failed to beat Carmelo for the title, and he is kind of like felt like he couldn't cut anymore, and so he left for a bit, but then he just recently came back to pick up where he left off with Dirty Dom. He was scheduled to face him for the North American title at Deadline on Saturday night. So he's been replaced. They found a replacement for him. We'll get that when I get to the NXT recap. But that just really sucks. He's come such a long way. It's like he got a short end of the stick when his tag team partner was fired for violating the rules for certain things. We won't need to get in that, but it looked like maybe he was gonna get screwed by proxy. But credit to HBK, he knew how talented this kid was, and so he transitioned him into a single star and gave him the opportunity to shine, and he shone. He had a great North American title run, had multiple defenses, fantastic matches with people. He's great in the ring. He's definitely got the potential to be do well on the main roster, given the chance. But that's going to be really delayed now with this injury. He's probably not going to be on the main roster until probably 2026 at this point.
Yeah, which stinks because if now that Triple H is with Triple H is in charge of the bigger brands, because Wes Lee had the Vince McMahon has nothing to do with this guy NXT lifer because he's going to get buried on the main roster type of talent. Whereas now with Triple H, he knows how to utilize all the talent. He understands talent, especially HBK. Which, by the way, HBK every time of someone gets released, because I think Mackenzie Mitchell, I believe is that her name. She got released, and he came out and was just like that. I felt better. She was great. So it's like, does Shawn Michaels ever know who's getting released when people get released from NXT?
Yeah, they keep. Yeah, it's like, there was some more. There was some more staff cuts WWE did,
right.
as they're citing the side effects of the merger with UFC into the TKO brand. Because the only Mackenzie Mitchell was the only one of the on-screen talent, the non-wrestling talent that got cut. All the rest of the announcers and the interviews, Kathy Kelly and them are all safe, thankfully. But that was a bummer. I really liked her. I thought she was doing really good in NXT, and the wrestlers definitely, you can tell the wrestlers really liked her. So some of them had some really fun interactions with her. So they built a rapport relationship. So that was really unfortunate. So hopefully she'll land somewhere good.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
this Wes Lee news was a bummer because I've become a big fan of his, and it was just like, oh, son of a bitch.
They known as the Rascals, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
They had made a big name for themselves wrestling in over at Impact, and it's like they were. It's like word. It's like because of how good they were. Word was that Triple H and HBK were looking to bring them over to WWE and get them in NXT.
Right.
And they got a really good push. They were tag team champions and everything, and the sky was the limit. But then it's like his tag team partner got into trouble and got fired, and but thankfully he was able to overcome all that. And so this really sucks. It's a big setback for him.
Yeah, I mean he could have still gotten lost in the main roster shuffle.
He could,
but
we'll see what happens when he comes back.
Right.
He's going to have to spend a little bit more time next team when he finally comes back, just for unfinished business,
Unfortunately, too many people will compare him
and
Carmelo.
Who knows, when he comes back, he might have a chance to be NXT champion. Who knows?
True. But too many people, unfortunately, I can just see it where people will compare him to Carmelo.
NXT is an embarrassment of riches right now with the amount of young talent they got ready to go, both men and women. I mean, Jesus. Carmelo and Braun are just the tip of the iceberg as far as really talented people they got ready to go.
Tiffany.
Yeah.
All right.
Loaded, man.
Oh yeah, they've got Roxanne.
Roxanne, Tiffany, and so many others.
Yeah. All right, so let's move. Anything else in news? I know we kind of did pretty well on that. Got about 30 minutes in.
I think that's.
We speaking about. We will get on that. We've been
Oh,
saying
yeah.
that for about the past 2 weeks.
Yeah,
so,
we're with you on that moment, buddy.
yeah,
We think
the
that
promos alone will sell me on it.
Yeah.
I mean, just
I think that's very likely to happen.
yeah. But all right, you ready to move on to SmackDown?
Yeah, let's go over SmackDown here real quick. All right, so last week's episode of SmackDown, show opened with Bianca Belair, came out to cut a promo, said that even though that she and the Babyfaces defeated Damage Control in a War Games match at Survivor Series, she's not finished with them yet because she wants to get the WWE Women's title back from Io Sky after she cashed in Money in the Bank on her at SummerSlam and stole the title from her right after she had just won it back. So she wants the title back as the final part of her revenge. Damage Control came out minus Bayley, very interesting, with Dakota Kai as the mouthpiece, saying that Bianca needs to go through all the rest of Damage Control. She wants to get a title shot at Io, and led to a fight, and then Shotzi and Charlotte Flair came out to back Bianca up again. There was a big fight, and that set up Bianca taking on Kairi Sane in the main event match of the show, but not the final thing of the show, as we'll get to. So that led to Bayley being in the coming up to back and like, hey, why don't you guys tell me what's going on? And so sowing the seeds of the Bayley getting kicked out of the group here, which it became even more evident with the main event. What happened in the main event match there? Bobby Lashley defeated Butch. Butch doesn't know what's going on with why Bronson Reed left him in the dirt. But things are not looking good for Butch. Looks like Sheamus hopefully will come back soon to give him a hand because he's going through some hard times. Nick Aldis met with Paul Heyman, told him that Randy Orton was going to be there tonight and that he intended to sign him exclusively to SmackDown since he's a free agent. He wasn't part of the draft while he was out injured. And that Heyman was obviously not happy about that and told Nick Aldis he was going to do everything he possibly could to prevent that from happening. Santos Escobar took on Joaquin Wilde of the LWO, beat him, continued that feud. Dragon Lee came out to help Wilde to prevent Santos from delivering a beatdown after the match. Adam Pearce showed up and told us that he was there to try to lure Randy to sign with Raw instead. Had a contract with him. Logan Paul then came out, cut a promo, said that he had talked with Nick Aldis and that there was going to be a number one contenders tournament who will be determined who will face him next for the U.S. title. The names announced for the tournament will include Santos Escobar, Dragon Lee, Karrion Kross, Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, Kevin Owens, and an unnamed NXT superstar. Sounds like someone may get a main roster call-up. KO came out and had words with Paul, kind of setting up a potential feud down the line for the title. But, of course, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, who are not fans of KO right now still, came out and they got into words. And then KO got into a fight with them again, which led to another match. Kevin Owens defeat Grayson Waller, and as we talked about, looked like he injured his hand during the match, which maybe partial legit, partial storyline. We'll find out. They announced that CM Punk would be on SmackDown this week, which is now tomorrow night. So that's going to be big. So we'll see how big the ratings get boosted with CM Punk showing up on SmackDown this week. Io told Bayley to stay in the back and not be out there to do anything in the match with between Kairi Sane and Bianca Belair. But Bayley didn't listen. She went out and tried to interfere, tried to help Kairi win, and it backfired, and Bianca picked up the win. So more damage to Bayley's relationship with the rest of Damage Control. And then we had the main event segment, which is basically Randy Orton came out. Adam Pearce, Nick Aldis made pitches about what show he should sign with. Aldis promising him the bloodline, which he knew that he wanted to get his hands on. Before he could give his answer, Heyman came out and said that he was going to make the answer for him. And Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso came out of the woodwork to attack Orton. LA Knight came out to a big pop for the save. He fought Solo to the back area. leaving Randy alone with Jimmy, and he took him out with an RKO. Then he took the contract for SmackDown from Aldis, signed it, dropped it on Jimmy's unconscious body, and then got on the mic and told Heyman to make his phone call to Roman and to tell him that Daddy's back. And so Heyman started making that phone call to Roman. Nick Aldis was very happy, raised Randy's hand, but as Michael Cole said, gotta watch out when it comes to the Viper, because Randy just couldn't help himself, and he RKO'd Nick Aldis to end the show. You're muted, buddy. You're muted, Josh.
I saw that coming from a mile away. I was like, "Come on, do it, dude! You know you want to."
I had a feeling because like they were lingering on for a bit, and I saw like Randy looking at him, and I'm like, RKO out of nowhere.
Yeah, and then he did that whole like, I couldn't help myself.
I can't help myself.
He did that. I couldn't help myself on that. But yeah, I mean, just great stuff there. And now we know where Randy's going. That way they can. It's never there's no over. That's the one thing about the brand split. Even though there is overlapping, but you're not too much overlapping, if that makes sense. As far as the main event not getting convoluted, like where this is going right now. Like we said. Roman, Randy, Rumble. That's where
most likely he's going to be facing Roman for the title at the Rumble, which that'll be one hell of a freaking match.
Yeah, and then
Orton is jacked. He looks fantastic. He looked great at War Games. Looked good against Dom. So, man, and it makes sense because the Bloodline, in storyline purpose for storyline purposes, is the one that causes back injury. And so put him on so because of the Bloodline, he missed a year and a half of being in the ring. So he knowing it's like knowing the Viper, he wants his revenge. So he's not going to stop until he takes the title for Roman. So that's a fantastic feud.
Yeah. And then did Roman in LA have, because I'm still kind of with the timeline of when Randy went out in LA, even when LA came in, was he doing the maximum male models? Like I'm still.
He was. What are you talking about? Like, well, a year ago he was doing the maximum male models as Max Dupree.
Okay.
But it's very interesting to see what's going to happen because there's more than one people that want the piece of Roman right now. LA Knight said he's not finished with the Bloodline Roman. He wants a rematch after Crown Jewel. Randy's back. He wants his pound of flesh from Roman into the Bloodline. AJ Styles is going to want the same thing when he comes back.
That's rumored he's going to be on this week's.
Yeah. So it's like you got three big baby faces to keep Roman busy until WrestleMania, Orton, LA Knight, and AJ Styles. So you could do any combination of those guys, taking them on over the next couple pay-per-views leading into WrestleMania. And they're all fresh. Well, it's like AJ and Orton are definitely fresh because it's like he hasn't done proper feuds with them while he's been champion. So those are going to be some really good fresh matchups. AJ is going to have the rest of the OC backing him up. They'll be back on television. Hopefully, Gallows will have healed as well, so that the OC will be at full strength if AJ's coming after the Bloodline, which is what I'm expecting.
Is this the most organic interaction between two Raw GMs we've ever seen?
Yeah, it's not like there's a rivalry there, but there's also respect. Like they don't hate each other, but there's gamesmanship going on. Like Pierce said when he got Aldis tossed him out on his first night. Let the games begin. So it's like there's gamesmanship, but there's respect. So they're trying to one up each other, but they don't hate each other yet. Right. So I like that.
Yeah, and Pierce is really. I mean, he did as
That's
much.
Why he's going to push hard to make Punk exclusive to Raw because since he was also not part of the draft, CM Punk is also a free agent, has free agent status, and so I think that's where Punk is going to end up.
Dragon Lee is trying so hard to be employee of the year.
So
much.
Man.
He won employee of the month so far, especially him filling in for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's filling in for Ray while he's recovering from his knee surgery as part of the And I like what they're doing with Santos. Santos is building up wins. He's being a headache for the LWO while Ray is out injured. And it's a good thing. It's like they're building his cred as a heel, so it's good. I don't know what's going on. There seems to be a holding pattern with Lashley and the Street Profits and their whole heel stable. I don't know what's going on there.
They haven't touched on what's her face.
Oh yeah, and what's going on with him trying to recruit BFAB to join the party? There wasn't any progress on that. It was just kind of like we'll just throw him in a match with Butch just for as like, well, it's kind of random. I also have to say I really like how the slow build to Bailey's expulsion for damage control is going here, because it's building. It's right. Like, they did a good job of setting that up with the War Games, with how she was doing everything she could try to win, but then she was the one who took the pinfall for them to lose the match. So it's very obvious that Io is not happy with her, because she's like, you stay in the back. Like, right. She's like pointing her finger, like this is like, and even Dakota's like looked at her and was like, I'm sorry. And she didn't listen, and she tried to help Kairi Sane, and it backfired again, and Kairi lost. So it's building. It's like it's reaching. It's building toward the boiling point where Io and the rest of them are going to be like, all right, something needs to change. You're the problem. I'm sorry. Right. And then they turn on her.
And it makes sense, because like right now you buy the fact that like the four of them just seem like much more of a cohesive unit than the five of them.
She feels like the odd person out right now. Right. Even though Dakota is still like, being, like was trying to talk to her, like, hey, are you okay? It's like eventually Dakota's also going to turn on her, because like, Dakota's still like good with her, but like it's very clear Io, Asuka, and Kairi are definitely getting really annoyed with Bailey's continued failures.
Yeah, and the four of them just kind of work. Like, you can easily, whoever, like, as far as mic wise, I mean, obviously they're all four fine, but I mean, you could have Dakota.
I like that Dakota's like kind of like the mouthpiece, because Io, Asuka, and Kairi all can speak English, but it's like maybe not like perfect English, but they can still speak it. But like they prefer, it's like Japanese is more their native tongue, so it's okay for Dakota to act like the mouthpiece. It gives her something to do before she can be able to finally.
She's still 4 months out, something
probably
like that.
Probably 3 or 4. Yeah, it shouldn't be too much longer before she's cleared.
Right.
So at least she's part of the storyline and on TV, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, so good there. Well, solid, decent promo by Logan. Kevin Owens got him being in the U.S. title match written on the wall, but with his hand injury,
it feels like KO's going to win this number one contender tournament, most likely.
Yeah, and there's a reason they kept LA Knight out, because
that's going to be some promo work between KO and Logan Paul.
Yeah, because Logan's decent he's pretty solid on the mic.
Yeah, he is.
So it is there. Anything else? When is Sheamus supposed to be back?
Nobody's certain. Hopefully, sometime soon is the rumor. So we'll see. Okay. It feels like what's going on with Butch and Ridge Holland is kind of building toward his return, to try to see if he can repair the relationship between the Brawling Birds. So we'll see. I hope he's back soon, because he's been missed.
Gotcha. Well, let's. Are we good for anything else on SmackDown?
No, pretty good show overall.
Yeah, solid show, decent show there. So let's move on to what I feel like was Raw is McIntyre. So you can go on and talk about that.
That's why I got my shirt on tonight. All right, so we'll go to Monday Night Raw. All right. Speaking of my boy Drew McIntyre, he opened the show, cutting a promo about what's been going on lately. Made some vague disses that could be interpreted as disses towards CM Punk, which caused a CM Punk chant. But Drew had a great comeback. It was like, hey, I could be talking about anybody. And then Sami Zayn came out to rebut and led to their match. They had a fantastic opening match, getting a lot of time. Drew went right into that heel mode. When after Sammy appeared to injure his ankle during the match, and he chop blocked him and took advantage of it to help him hit the Claymore to get the victory. And then after the match, while Sammy was being looked at in the back, Drew came out of nowhere and attacked him, hurt him some more, got on top of him and told him that, we're nothing alike. Talk about my family, and, you brought this on yourself. So, yeah, heel Drew is awesome and continue to be more awesome throughout the show. Then Becky Lynch was being interviewed. Before she could say much, Nia Jax interrupted, saying that she knows that Becky's saying that she's looking to have some fights. And Becky said, yeah. And as a matter of fact, Nia, you're at the top of my list. Becky making it clear that she wants payback on Nia Jax for busting her nose way back in 2018. Which helped contribute to Becky's rise to stardom as the man. And Nia told her, hey, no problem. I'm all yours after I take care of Shayna tonight. So setting up a feud between Becky and Nia Jax. Very interesting. Speaking of Shayna Baszler, unfortunately, Nia Jax defeated her. They gave him some time. Wasn't a squash. Shayna tried to put up a fight, but it was clear Nia was going to win this match. The way she'd been booked lately. Becky came out to confront her, but Nia Jax bailed rather than get into a scrap with Becky, even though she was asking for it. So very interesting. And then one of the best matches of the night. Oh my God. DIY took on Imperium in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Finally, DIY got their final revenge on Imperium. Imperium won the first fall, but DIY rallied, won the next 2 falls to win the match. The crowd got into this. There was DIY chants. So thumbs up, Triple H. DIY's getting over. Keep giving them wins. That was excellent stuff. Happy to see DIY come out on top finally, and that they're getting over. Speaking of over, R-Truth is still over, and he's still hilarious. And he's become Judgment Day's headache. Hanging out in their cubby hole in the back, basically thinking that they want to recruit him, and so he's trying to join Judgment Day. This will be very interesting to see where this is going to go. We had Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. They defeated Tegan Nox and Natalya. Looks like they'll probably get the next tag team title shot against Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, who were at ringside on the commentary desk during the match. Match was a little sloppy, which is kind of surprising with the people involved. So it wasn't as good as it could have been. But, nice to see Kaden and Katana. I've been a fan of theirs for a while. That they got a win, and we'll see what they can do against the tag champs. Cody came out, cut a promo, responding to Nakamura attacking him last week with the mist. Cody said that Nakamura has attention now. He's ready to get it on. Nakamura showed up on the big screen again. Said that the reason that he's coming after Cody is that they have similar stories. They both won the Royal Rumble match going into main event of WrestleMania. Everyone was expecting them to win the title, but they didn't, and that set them off a cliff. Now Cody's trying to get back to Mania, and Nakamura wants to take the story out of Cody's hands so he can't finish it. Cody responded, "Oh, you and I are not the same at all, and I'm going to prove it." So the build up to Cody Nakamura getting out of the ring continues. Good stuff. Speaking of good stuff, Creed Brothers, baby. Creed Brothers taking on JD McDonough and Dirty Dom of Judgment Day ahead of their upcoming tag team title shot against Finn Balor and Damian Priest for the tag titles. They got the win. Fans were really into the Creed Brothers. They're getting over too. Really good stuff here. Love the Creed Brothers, man. They're killing it. I also like that after the match when Priest was all like, "You guys, what happened? I thought you had this match in the bag," and JD wanted to blame R-Truth, who was at ringside with the Judgment Day T-shirt on, rooting him on like he's a member of the group. It's funny stuff. But Dirty Dom, with some honesty for a change, goes, "No, those Creed Brothers are the real deal. You guys need to watch out." So the fact that Dirty Dom said that says a lot. Adam Pearce was speaking to Seth Rollins in the back, told him that CM Punk was going to be back on Raw next week per his invitation because he wants to sign CM Punk exclusively to Raw. Rollins is not a fan of that, but he's like, whatever, I got bigger fish to fry right now. That includes defending the title tonight against Jey Uso. Jey came up. They had some words, threw some digs at each other, but still came away with mutual respect. So, the main event, fantastic match between Seth Rollins and Jey Uso. Pay-per-view level quality match. Lots of great near falls. Fans were red hot for it. But Seth Rollins came out top to win the match. Jey was outside the ring afterwards trying to recover. But then Drew McIntyre, my boy, came out of nowhere. Claymore'd Jey outside the ring. Seth tried to help Jey, but Drew took him out as well. And then he put Jey through the announce table, grabbed him by the head, and screamed at him, "The truth will set you free," as the show went off the air. So, yeah, my boy, he's killing it right now with this heel turn. I'm in love.
What do you think he like? He did the Rhea wave.
Yeah.
He did the truth will set you free. What is? I'm maybe I missed that somewhere. Where is that?
I don't know where it's going, but I definitely want to know where it's going.
Dude, like we've been talking about for a while, and this is why Triple H and WWE are in their pocket right now. Is this part of McIntyre's slow turn? But it makes sense.
It does.
It makes total sense on why. Because he's just like, everything I've tried to do, I try to do it the right way. Whatever.
It looked like he was maybe kind of like starting to like come to his senses. But then when Seth revealed that he let Jey jump ahead of Drew in the line and was giving him a title shot over him, he just fucking snapped.
Yeah. He went full Florida State and was like, I'm better. I did everything I was supposed to do, and you're still giving it to Alabama.
And then look what he did to Sammy. It's like, we'll see if Sammy's going to win off TV for a bit. Who knows?
Speak about getting arrested, right? As we alluded to earlier, with Sammy. Kind of going back. One of the 4 best matches that you could have on one show that I've seen in quite some time. That not AEW based.
Yeah, no, like the weakest match was probably like Nia versus Shayna, and it's like Shayna did everything she could for Nia. I mean, Nia is not the best worker in the business, but it was still a watchable match. But both tag team matches were fire. The main event was fire, and Drew and Sammy was fire. So it's like you had 4 really good banger matches on Raw. So it's like one of the best overall wrestling cards on Raw in some time. It's like there was a lot of people were cooking in the kitchen, especially in the tag division. DIY and Creed Brothers are killing it and getting over. So that makes me very happy because I love them both.
Yeah, I'm bringing it up because he said it a week ago, and then it happened, and then the Florida State thing happened. I was like, oh my God, it's exactly how McIntyre felt because he got passed over when it should be him in line. Yeah, that's literally what it was. So yes, it's exactly like that. But when college football becomes a WWE storyline, here we go. Mm-hmm. But another thing, Caden and Katana have the smoothest finisher.
Yeah, they make it look so easy. It's like I love their finisher. It's like they've really perfected that. Yeah, like I said, the match had some sloppy points, but it ended good.
But yeah, I mean, I've been waiting for Caden and Katana because they just work so well together. They've been a tag team for like 4 years.
They've been a tag team for quite a while coming out of NXT. So it'll be interesting to see how they do against the tag champs.
American Ninja Katana.
Yep.
That's what I was like. I remember when she was dating Ricochet way back when too. That's kind of crazy.
I liked Seth's response to CM Punk was very coming back to the show next week is very telling. Be rich to see what's going to happen.
Yeah. A couple other things. Yeah. So those 4 things were there. DIY, about time. The Creed brothers,
so good.
They're
so good, man.
Which is the dark haired one?
Brutus.
Okay.
The shorter, stockier one is Brutus. The really thin, taller one is Julius.
Okay, so who's the one that was doing the belly to belly kip up 7 times in a row during the match?
I think that was Julius. He was when he was handing out he was like,
and they're both athletic.
He was doing a little suplex city to the Judgment Day. Yeah, and then doing the kip up. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just put it this way. Just the best way I can put it is like the Steiner brothers' strength plus Shawn Michaels' agility. It's ridiculous.
It is. It's a scary combo, and it's like it's scary that they're this good and they're still young. Yeah. It's like they ain't even hit their prime yet.
Yeah, because I remember watching them a couple of times in NXT. Like what was it? He did like the 2-handed power bomb, I think, one time.
Yeah.
Or like he power bombed like 2 guys, but he still had the strength to do both arms. I forget what it was. It was something crazy. And I was like, what the crap?
Yeah.
So I watched one of their matches.
Bruce has some serious feats of strength and just like, damn, dude. But like Julius is like he is an athletic freak, man. Me and a lot of other people have been high on Julius for some time. Like in the future, he could be one hell of a single star. Yeah. He's fantastic.
Yeah. The one thing I will say about, obviously, like you said, the Nia Jax, but she's not injuring anybody, knock on wood. So far, anytime you don't injure somebody during a match, I think it's a good match.
I want to see if my girl, the man Becky, can get a good match out of Nia with this feud, which makes sense. It's kind of, I like it. It's unfinished business. It's like it's something that didn't happen just because of she was involved in other storylines, and so was Nia. Then she took time off to have her daughter, and then she came back. And when she came back, Nia was gone. She'd been fired, and Nia only just recently came back. So it's kind of like, you know what? It's like it makes sense that even though. Yeah, Nia breaking her nose was an accident. It was not intentional. It was an accident, but it was a accidental blessing in disguise because her busting her nose like that helped get her even more over the fans.
It was a beautiful accident, as one would say.
It was a beautiful
oxymoron.
It was another notch in her getting to the top.
And they even said, like, what made you like do that? She goes, I don't remember doing that because she was concussed.
She was concussed too. She not only did Nia break her nose, but she also concussed her at the same time.
Right.
Because she barely remembered what she did after it happened.
Right. No, the Steiners didn't do steroids. They're genetic freaks. Don't you know that? Scott Steiner never did any of that. His bicep just looks odd as they stacked on top of each other.
He still looks pretty buff. He's retired. It's like
he just has that engaged chest like Kofi does. That's why.
As far as I know, they didn't do any roids. That they were natural. But it's like I could be wrong, but it's like.
I mean, you would talk to like I remember listening to like Nash and Stone Cold, and they would always be like they would talk about this and that, like all these badasses, and they go, and then there was the Steiners like, oh yeah, you didn't mess with the Steiners. They were straight out of Michigan, right?
If you go back and watch certain matches, especially like just like regular TV matches, if they were doing like squash matches against jobbers, they fucking murdered the jobbers, man. It's like they manhandled the fuck out of those guys, like stiff as fuck. Like they were wrestling like against like guys in New Japan.
Yeah,
where it's like you're expected to go stiff.
Scott just had Scott had charisma and
it was like legalized murder. They just wrecked the jobbers. Yeah. It's like doing like the Frankenstein, just like it's like you're like, damn, dude.
It was ridiculous. But yeah, Scott. The reason Scott was bigger than Rick is because Scott had a little bit more charisma. Probably had a better,
That's why he got the bigger singles push versus Rick. Rick got a singles push early in his career, like before, off the whole Varsity Club stuff. Before Scott came in into WCW, and then they came together and did tag team. It wasn't until like the later Attitude Era that they split the two of them and gave Scott the big singles push. So it's because it's like he definitely had the more potential, especially when you look back. But it's like Scott Steiner is like, damn, dude, he was something else, man. It's like the Frankenstein and some of the other moves he did in the ring he was ahead of his time.
Last couple things.
Mm-hmm.
Is Cody and Nakamura doing their match next week?
I don't think so. Maybe.
I thought I saw a promo. I thought I saw a thing where they said that the match was next week, and I'm like, wow, that's short. Because Cody likes to draw out to try and obviously he tries to elevate his competition to make it a thing on there. And I thought I saw either they had that's not a confrontation, but I thought they said next week Cody and Nakamura are going to figure this out or something like that. But I mean, I could have misread what they were saying. Maybe they might confront each other or have some, some weather pushing storyline, because there's no pay-per-view. There's no live event, and he's in the Royal Rumble, so it's not like they're going to have some blow-off match so unless they do something like that, where maybe they just at least create a feud to where there's at least multiple people that you make sense on why they want Cody out of the Rumble other than that. So maybe they might do that, but I think they might have a match and just do like a dumb. I mean, I just don't want him to, finish Nakamura clean, because then it just takes away from it. We still want Nakamura as the threat.
I thought something that I don't know if they're going to do anything next week. We'll see. I may have missed it. I can't find anything at the moment. They might do. Yeah, this feels like something that they're going to use. They're going to blow off on Raw here in December ahead of the Rumble, because we'll see where this goes. Yeah, I liked his reasoning where he's like, "Yo, Cody, you and me, we're a lot alike, dude. It's like we won the Royal Rumble. Everyone was behind us. It's like everyone was like, oh yeah, they're going to win at WrestleMania, and then we got screwed, and then we fell off the cliff." And it's like Cody's like, "No, we are not the same, dude."
No.
Well,
I do like me and you. I think we're kind of like, according to the internet, they're like tired of the Nakamura shtick. But I'm like, what else are you gonna do with him?
Yeah,
it makes sense. You understand it, and it ups him. He makes him like this is the Nakamura that was in New Japan, and it helps that he speaks English, but it puts more mystique towards it, the way they're doing it. So if you can come up with something better other than just burying him in the roster like he was beforehand, you tell me what you want to do with that. Also, I don't care who's in charge. I think if you give WWE, like, here, make a video package and try and get me excited for a squirrel versus an acorn, they would make that thing like the best video package I've ever seen in my life. Because that Jey Uso package, if you weren't pumped up after watching that, then I don't know what to tell you.
I just found it. It's on WWE's website. The only things advertised for this coming Raw on Monday is we'll see CM Punk sign with Raw, and Cody Rhodes will face off with Nakamura.
Okay.
So they're supposed to go one-on-one. We'll see if that actually happens. We'll see.
Right. Yeah, that video package with Jey Uso, like that they did. Like I said, WWE just knows how to make video packages. It's just ridiculous.
It's incredible how over Jey's gotten. It's like everybody in the arena is just throwing up their hands. Is like when he comes out. It's amazing to watch.
Yeah, and one little funny thing about video packages, there is a funny video on the internet now where this girl's at a Limp Bizkit concert, and they're playing the song from The Rock and Stone Cold, and she literally holds the phone up as a part of the song, so the video is playing as they're playing live for that WrestleMania 17 video, the famous WrestleMania 17 video package. Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool. So, and everyone, like, you heard a couple people like, "Oh, I know what you're doing." On that, so that was pretty cool there. But anything else on Raw?
No, I'm very curious to see what Punk's going to say and do. He's going to sign with Raw. It's pretty obvious. With Orton going to SmackDown, it makes sense that Punk's going to be on Raw, because that's where Seth and a lot of the money feuds that Punk can do to start off with are going to be. So hopefully we'll hear some more motivation about why he was back. I think it would be smart for him to be like Cody and declare that he's going to be in the Rumble now. If he's not, if he doesn't, then that means that maybe he and Seth might do something at the Rumble. Who knows? Actually, I think it's more likely that it's going to be Seth and Drew at the Rumble for the title at this point, unless they blow that off on Raw. It's like, we'll see. But it's going to be very interesting to see what Punk's going to say. But I think he's going to take Adam Pearce's offer, and I can't wait to see Seth Rollins' reaction when he signs that Raw contract, because hopefully maybe they'll have a confrontation, because then it would get really juicy. So we'll see.
Oh, I mean, it's just this is what everyone's been.
It's must see TV with Punk right now. It's like, because we want to see what happens. Even tomorrow, like, what's he going to do on SmackDown? Who's he going to talk to? It's like you got to think he's going to have a run-in with Heyman. With their history,
and they did ask Jey on the bump about, what do you feel about now? Granted, when you're on WWE television, you kind of have you got to hit these bullet points and not just on some,
Mm-hmm.
Chris Van Fleet or whatever. But he was basically kind of the same thing that most wrestlers are at this point. Is he's hot right now. He moves the needle. Well, how can I deny bringing him in? And as long as he's helping our business, then I'm down with it. I'm right with him or whatever it was. Obviously, I can't quote him exactly, but he's basically just okay. And again, when he was around, he really had no interaction with Punk anyway. They were still kind of on the up and up, trying to make a name for themselves.
He and Jimmy were green when Punk left.
Right.
It's they were just starting their WWE career when Punk and WWE parted ways back in 2014. So they don't have any history or anything. He doesn't know doesn't know him like some of the other people do. So it's a smart answer to say. That's what a lot of people are saying. So no surprise. I wonder. It'd be cool. I'm hoping for if AJ Styles is also back, he and Punk have a little face to face because they had not long, but a bit of a brief butting heads back in their ROH days. So it's it's been a long time since they've been face to face in the same company. Because AJ didn't come to WWE until long after Punk left. So, because that's a dream match. That's another great potential dream match down the line. CM Punk, AJ Styles.
And speak about a lot of button heads. Let's move on to AEW, and we'll go over this. But we're basically going to say why this Continental Classic is looking like some of the classic, just great wrestling matches. We're getting some solid stuff. So go ahead and go over that, and then we'll talk about that and why this is still Swerve's house at this point.
Okay, we'll start with Collision and go into Dynamite. So on Collision last Saturday, had more rounds of the Continental Classic round robin tournament. Some very great matches and some very interesting, surprising results. Brody King actually defeated Claudio, and so Brody King is currently undefeated in the Continental Classic. So it's he's up there in the point standings. Andrade recovered. He defeated Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia is looking like he's probably going to not be mathematically eliminated from making it the way things are going. And then one that surprised me, I was kind of hoping he'd win, but Bryan Danielson got the win over Eddie Kingston. So and he's lost his first two matches, so it's he's got to rally. If he doesn't win, the next three matches. If he loses in one more match, then he's cooked in the tournament. Other matches on the show, and that was the main event match too. Other match show, Abaddon defeated Kiera Hogan, and then afterwards, Julia Hart teleported in to have a little stare down. So it seems like they're kind of building up Abaddon to be a future challenger for Julia Hart for the TBS title. The Kingdom defeated the Iron Savages. House of Black defeated Matt Sydal and Christopher Daniels. And El Hijo de Vikingo defeated Kip Sabian. And then we went to Dynamite last night. More Continental Classic matches throughout the show. The show opened with Jon Moxley defeating Roosh in the Continental Classic. So Moxley is undefeated with 9 points. Hell of a match, too. Segment where Roddy Strong and the Kingdom were interviewed by Renee on the stage. And it's a miracle. Roddy finally dishes the wheelchair, acting like he's miraculously healed. Funny stuff. Now he's graduated to screaming other people's names besides Adam. And still pushing that MJF is the devil. And that somehow in his weird warped logic, Smojo is also his friend now by proxy of Adam Cole. It's Roddy's something else right now. I like what he's doing right now. It's very entertaining. MJF and Hangman had a page range each other in the back when Renee was trying to get an interview with MJF, and they had a bit of war words, accused each other of being the devil. Things were getting heated until Samoa Joe broke it up, told MJF, tell them to cool it out, and told MJF they had more important things to deal with tonight. Continental Classic match, Swerve Strickland defeated Mark Briscoe. Poor Mark Briscoe. He's been putting in some work in these matches, but he hasn't got a win. It's unfortunate, but Swerve's getting the mega pitch. Swerve is also 3-0 so far in the Continental Classic. He's undefeated, and he's looking great. The advertised Samoa Joe and MJF versus the Devil's Mystery Men did not happen. The Mystery Men surrounded the Samoa Joe in the ring, but the lights went out. Devil appeared on the camera laughing, and then revealed video showing that MJF had been attacked and laid out in the back area. Was completely unconscious. Looked like he had been hit in the back of the head with a bottle. Samoa Joe then ran back to check on him and make sure he was okay. So no match. The angle continues. This thing's getting dragged out for too long. I really hope so we can get some resolution soon. John Moxley and Swerve ran into each other in the back and exchanged some words because they're going to be facing each other in the next Continental Classic match next week. That's going to be a banger. Really smart move by Tony Khan. He had Ben Mankiewicz of Turner Classic Movies do a special introduction for Timeless Tony Storm, comparing her to great screen legends of the past and plugging her mini movies that she'd done. Fantastic stuff. Very, very, very clever use of their parent company. She defended the title against Sky Blue. She beat Sky Blue clean, so she's still women's champion. But then out of nowhere, Riho, former AEW women's champion, returned, got in Tony Storm's face, and made it clear that she wants next. Another Continental Classic match, Jay White. It was a battle of the Jays. Jay White against Jay Lethal, but Jay White, the Switchblade, came out on top. And so Jay Lethal looks like he's pretty much cooked in the tournament, unfortunately, as far as being able to try to advance points-wise. I'm glad Jay White won because he needed the win. And then in the main event, Christian Cage versus Adam Copeland, former best friends and tag team partners, and now bitter enemies for the TNT title. It was a good match. I really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, it got a little overbooked at the end. There was a ref bump, and then Nick Wayne's mom came down, picked up the TNT title belt, and she was trying to decide who to hit the belt, who to hit with the belt, and she chose to hit Adam instead. Obviously, because of the concerto he did to her son, despite the fact that her son was okay with her getting concertoed before that even happened. So what are you going to do? It's, So the belt shot allowed Christian to then hit him with the kill switch, and the ref revived in time for Christian to get the 3 count and keep the TNT title. So that's all the major happenings. There's matches on Rampage, but there wasn't any Continental Classic matches or anything consequence. It was just filler stuff. Kind of like building off side feuds, but nothing that's really worth going over. But
but we'll start with this question here. Have they made it interesting finally?
Potentially, yes. Timeless Tony Storm's killing it. Like what they're doing, like the TCM crossover Ben Mankiewicz was a brilliant idea. I can't believe he said all that with a straight face.
Yeah. I was like, "Wait, is that who I think it is?"
Yep. Yeah, it was advertised by Tony on Twitter before earlier in the week, beginning of the week, and I was just like, "Oh my god, that's freaking brilliant, dude!"
That's so. It was kind of inside baseball because but then it makes sense on why, because it's a Ted Turner owned.
Yeah, it's they're using they're taking advantage of being on Warner Bros. Discovery Television. It's like they own Turner Classic Movies, so it's like, hey, it was a very clever idea. I really liked that. It was really brilliant, very funny. Thomas Tony's killing it. She's over. So hopefully they can find a way to give her a build, like a good feud. Like Sky was kind of oh, you interrupted me, and so I'm going to take care of you. We'll see what happens with Riho. She's just maybe not a challenger, but she's definitely Timeless Tony is carrying the women's division right now, and that's a good thing. So
yeah, and she's going to have great matches.
Yeah,
and Sky Blue's getting there.
No, Sky's really improved in the ring. She's gotten pretty good in the ring, so they had a pretty good match.
Yeah, and I like I said, be on the lookout for my hometown girl Billy Starks in ROH.
I'm hoping that Jamie Hayter will come back soon, because if she comes back, that's going to really heat things up.
Yeah. Gift brought this up.
That's the thing.
So we've discussed this. That 50-50 booking is always a divisive thing.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it makes sense while they do it because you know where they're going, and sometimes they're just buying their time, and that's the annoying part.
Exactly.
So the 50-50 booking is a means to an end. At a certain point where like you got to get to this point, and you really can't figure out anything else to do. So like you said, like the last match, you kind of overbooked it, or booked yourself into a corner. So you're going to have like a couple weeks where people are going to get on you for the 50-50 booking. And also with the Continental a Classic, I like what they're doing, but you're going to have a lot of like same matchups type stuff, but it's like you have those matchups where it's like fight forever. So I don't, what do you think? And Giff, if you can elaborate on who you're talking about with 50-50 booking. You talk about like the Devil stuff where they just like wrap it up. You talk about the Christian Cage Edge stuff where you like wrap it up. If you want me to tell the Waynes, you just please go away. Or at least don't be involved with this stuff, because she was so telegraphed when she came out. Everything they do is cringe to me. As
soon as she came out, I knew she was gonna screw Adam Edge over because he dared to concerto her turncoat son, even though he's turned his back on her and has said and done horrible things. She's still his mother. He's still her son, and so she didn't appreciate Adam braining his head in with a concerto.
Yeah.
And take him off TV for a bit. So
I'm just.
It was very predictable that she was going to do that as soon as she came out. I was like, oh, here we go. Because I was like, are they going to like do like a non-finish, or is Edge going to get screwed here, and then we can build toward a rematch probably at World's End? And nope, it was a screw job. So Christian keep the title.
Well, and Edge even came out and was like, yeah, Christian obviously he's gonna hype up his boy, but he's just like, yeah, Christian has made the TNT title more over than the AEW championship. And I'm like, well, yeah, in a sense he has, obviously. And you can't deny that. But also, too, it's like MJF, when you put 7 titles on MJF, and he's got 17 storylines to go around.
Now, even though if you don't, no matter what you think of the ROH stuff, it's like he's got 2 belts around his waist. I knew something was there's gonna be some smoke and mirrors because of MJF's shoulder injury with torn labrum. It's like he can't really like wrestle properly right now. So obviously they did all that to further the angle and not have MJF be in the ring right now, which it's like apparently he's not ready. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what's gonna happen at the pay-per-view, because it's like, can he recover enough to be able to work a match? Depends on it's like he's like getting all kinds of treatments and stuff to try to avoid surgery as much as and so we'll see if that's going to work or not. But
and with the go ahead,
people were invoking that like oh, this feels like when Samoa Joe was attacked by ninjas in TNA, which is one of the most like infamous Wrestle Crap TNA moments when Samoa Joe was attacked and kidnapped by ninjas, and it was never followed up on.
Well, spoiler alert, guys. I don't know how more obvious it can be if they try and do something different, whatever. It's the Undisputed Era. Like they've even like hinted news coming out. Kyle O'Reilly is basically seen backstage at AEW. I know he's been out for a while. It's the Undisputed Era without Bobby Fish, and I think Wardlow might be a part of it at this point.
It's very possible. I totally it's because he's been pushing so hard. It's very obvious that I think like Roddy and the Kingdom are involved in with the Devil. I don't think Roddy's the Devil. He's not that kind of a mastermind. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kyle's also involved. You know, it's like it's all about them fucking MJF over because he's stolen away Adam Cole's love.
Right. And actually, I wouldn't mind the Devil being Wardlow, because that would be a different level of character if he can pull it off. Right?
Yep.
So I wouldn't mind him being the head guy with Roddy.
That would be a cool twist.
It'd be definitely a cool twist.
It would be better than some people. I know some people have speculated maybe it might be Jack Perry as the Devil, but it's like, it's like his character before he got his ass suspended because with the CM Punk incident. his character wasn't that kind of a thinker and mastermind. So that may or may not really work. That could fall flat. So what's you gonna see? They're gonna have to work really hard to make the payoff for this angle work because like I said, sometimes these masked men mystery reveals don't always work. I mean, like I was talking to my friends, I was like, it's like sometimes it works, and other times you get Vince is the higher power, which was god awful. Yeah, it was me, Austin. It was me all along.
I don't really blame Retribution on anyone but Vince.
The Retribution.
You could have easily made that really good. And
they blew that right off the bat.
They blew out. Or it just
Or
overstated.
going back even further, remember? I don't know if did you ever see the Black Scorpion stuff, the Sting versus the Black Scorpion? If not, look it up. That was pretty bad.
Gotcha.
And then it was Ric Flair was under the mask, which made no fucking sense. It's like that was also one of those like really bad reveals. Well, the whole Black Scorpion angle was really bad. Oh, the white Hummer. yeah. It's like we never find out who was behind the Hummer there in WCW.
we don't know who killed Vince McMahon because then Chris Benoit thing happened. So, we never.
Yeah, because that was he was supposed to have been killed in the limo explosion, but then they were like, no, that's probably not a good idea. That's bad taste, Vince. So let's reel it back and say that somehow you survived.
Yeah, I was just like, what? But yeah, I mean, inject. Who bleeds first, Mox or Swerve?
Good question. Because sometimes some people have bled before Moxley has, which is kind of surprising. So I'm expecting a banger between those two.
Oh yeah, and someone's going to bleed. There will be blood.
Yeah, between those two, yeah. It's like I think Moxley will probably do it just to give Swerve a break after the Texas Death Match, the pay-per-view. It's like, nah, bro. It's like I'll juice this time. I'll juice this week. Sorry, Renee.
No, not the beloved Prince Nana. Don't you lay a finger on that man. Don't you do that. Don't you speak that into ether. No, that man is a God's gift to wrestling.
The fans may riot if something like that happened to
you. Don't touch Prince Nana. Actually, to me, I think the Devil Mask either should be Wardlow or to really just do Hangman.
Oh,
that'd be cool.
That would be very interesting.
That'd be different.
If they could explain it, it's like they could explain it well. It would be kind of like what? But if you make it make sense,
right.
It's like,
just don't do the Bully Ray being the leader of Aces and Eights after he got beat up by Aces and Eights.
That's another one where great build up, but then the reveal it was all downhill after the reveal of who was really behind Aces and Eights. Because that was one of the best storylines TNA ever came up with.
I was invested, but they didn't
stick the landing with it.
Yeah, it did not stick the landing.
And check out if you ever heard of Brian Zane's YouTube channel where he does reviews and recaps of stuff. He did a whole video about the Aces and Eights storyline that's worth checking out about how it worked and then when it all went downhill.
Right. Yeah. A couple other things I want to touch on. I mean, all in all, this Continental Classic is it's
producing banger matches. It's like
a great idea. So on that,
I have to say it looked like they had a good crowd for this Dynamite, and it was a hot crowd too. It was in Canada. It was in Edges. Montreal.
It was in Montreal. So yeah, that's the thing is yes, they're still. And they got to go to. I'm with you. It's just you've got to go to. Unfortunately, you have to for your pay-per-views. You can book a bigger venue, but you have to go to
people
lower
come
venues.
For the pay-per-views, but like the weekly shows, sometimes they've had problems filling seats in certain arenas. So,
but you get your money's worth, as we've both been. Unfortunately, our boy Jason didn't get his money's worth, unfortunately, other than the concerto. But when you go to a Dynamite, at least with our two experiences, you get your money's worth.
It's like that was also when they were the last time I saw Dynamite was back when Dark was still around and they taped the stuff for Dark first, then Dynamite, and then they taped the episodes for Rampage right afterwards. So it was a marathon.
Oh, you got a lot of you got your money's worth
in one night.
And you saw it when there was all all I saw was dark and Dynamite. I didn't get because that Rampage hadn't even been. It was very in its infancy.
So they'd start the dark matches like at 6 p.m. Eastern time, and then they went live for Dynamite at 8, and then after 10 o'clock they filmed the hour Rampage. So you weren't leaving the arena until after 11 p.m.
Gotcha.
So it's like.
And one last thing I want, not really the show related, but AEW related. At the Monday Night Football game, they were showing a video of Swerve on the sideline, and they were playing his song. And then they showed Swerve, Tony talking to Roger Goodell. So I just, as far as on the sideline, now it's just a fact of that obviously Tony, his dad, they own his dad owns the Jaguars, so there's a lot of influence with that. But the fact that it was Swerve and Tony, it wasn't Tony and so Swerve is Swerve is the guy that Tony had next to him talking to the commissioner of the NFL. I think that speaks something. It might be a nothing burger. I think that means a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've been speaking this from the mountaintops. He should be the next champion.
Yeah,
he's super over everywhere he goes. Just from his demeanor, everyone else is dancing, and he's got this just stone killer. I didn't say Stone Cold because it's not him, but just killer. Just I am going to rip your head off while everyone else is doing this stuff with my. But he's not dancing. He's not doing anything. He is just just everything about Swerve is just golden right now, and just ride this wave as long as it happens, because Swerve is on top of his game right now. You should yell at the mountaintop, GIF.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything else on Dynamite before we wrap it up with NXT?
Nope. Pretty solid episode, Dynamite. I liked the main event. I felt that it was a little overbooked at the end, but it's like I figured something was going to happen because they're not going to take the TNT title off of Christian just yet.
The Waynes need to go to promo class so damn bad. And it's the fact that I understand why, and Nick is very good.
Pay attention to Christian and Adam on the mic, because it's like they're two of the best ever. So it's
yes.
Listen.
Now Chris Jericho did come out and say recently that hey, just spend 2 or 3 weeks with Vince, just because he understands the business so well that it will help you out. I'm like, okay, might as well say that. I mean, I understand on that, but Chris Jericho come out and saying that randomly, that was odd. But I mean, that makes sense as far as how to do television production, all that stuff, where AEW is still trying to learn that. But look at Vince in the 90s and early 2000s. So look at Vince in 2019, where they're dumping dog food on Roman Reigns in the corner, because that was just terrible.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. But I understand where Chris is coming from, because he was there during the just where WWE is basically now.
Yeah.
So I understand what he's coming from, and how the machine is in WWE. So that's my 2 cents on that. I just had to bring that up because we were at the end of AEW stuff. Go ahead and let us know about NXT and why Roxanne is still the greatest thing ever.
Yep. So NXT this week, it was the final go home show before NXT's deadline premium live event show on Saturday night this week. So we kicked off the show, final last chance qualifier to see who would be the 5th and final woman in the Women's Iron Survivor match. They had Fallon Henley, Kiana James, Roxanne Perez, and Thea Hale going at it. 4 very pretty talented ladies. Kiana and Roxanne's feud and hatred caused them to cancel each other out, and they both went through the announce table at one point, getting knocked silly, which took them out of the match. And Fallon Henley capitalized by rolling up Thea Hale to win the match and become the final women in the match. So I was like, I was a little bummed for Roxanne, but Roxanne's still going to get a match at Deadline because her and Kiana James hate each other so much that they got into a fight in the back while they were being treated. They can't. They want to destroy each other. And Ava Raine, of all people, The Rock's daughter, was like, all right, you guys need to sell this. I'm gonna go talk to HBK and see if we can get you guys a match for Deadline. And it was announced later that Kiana James and Roxanne Perez are going to duke it out in a steel cage match at Deadline. Hell yeah. So even though our girl Roxanne may not be in the Iron Survivor match, she still got a hell of a match for the pay-per-view. Then, as we talked about earlier, Wes Lee came out and announced that he was injured. His back was messed up and he needed to have surgery. He was going to be gone for a while. So he won't be facing Dirty Dom Mysterio for the North American title at Deadline. Dirty Dom came out to massive boos, was crowing about how like he didn't have to defend the title against Wes, and Wes like, oh no, you're going to be defending the title, it's just not going to be against me. And then Dom's Poppy, Rey Mysterio, appeared on the screen, told Dom that he was going to be at Deadline to be in the corner of Wes Lee's replacement, which was revealed to be Dragon Lee. So Dragon Lee came out, and he and Dominic Mysterio got into it to hype that North American title match for the pay-per-view. Lil Vice took on Tatum Paxley after words were exchanged backstage. They're definitely doing some kind of weird like stalker angle with Tatum Paxley and Lyra Valkyria. She's kind of been looking in the background, kind of stalking Lyra a little bit. We're going to see where that goes. It's like that could be good, it could be bad. We'll see. But not surprised. Lola has won the breakout tournament. She's got a number one contender match that she can cash in against Lyra for the women's title at any time. So we'll see where that goes. Alpha Academy got their revenge on Meta 4 in a 6-person mixed tag, men's and women. Some people like to diss Lash Legend. That maybe she's not that great anyway, but she blew everyone's minds when she what she did when she fucking power slammed Otis, man. Don't know how she pulled that off, but God bless her. She's got some strength. That was quite the shocking move of the match. But Alpha Academy came out on top. Chad Gable locked in the ankle lock on Noam Dar in the middle of the ring, and he was forced to tap out, giving the baby faces the win. And Alpha Academy kind of needed the win. So good for them. Byron Saxton tried to do an interview with all 5 women who are in the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge match. We've got Fallon Henley, Bea Priestley, Tiffany Stratton, Lash Legend, and who's the fourth person? Kalani Jordan. And words were exchanged. And Fallon Henley got a really cool, got some really good promo work at the end. And she still got beef with Tiffany Stratton and attacked Tiffany, and that triggered a brawl between all the women. Actually, when Nathan Frazier was supposed to have a match next, but it didn't happen because the women came back out and we're still fighting. And when Blair Davenport least expected it, bam! One of my other favorite people, Nikita Lyons, finally returned, came out and laid her out with a spinning kick to show that she is back. So welcome back, Nikita. Looking forward to seeing you back in the ring, girl. Because Nikita was had to get surgery. She was out for a while, and they wrote into the storyline reason was that she was attacked by the mystery attacker in the parking lot that laid out other women, and that attacker was eventually revealed to be Blair Davenport. So Nikita is looking to get her revenge on Blair Davenport for putting her on the shelf. So that's going to be a pretty awesome feud. Andre Chase had a meeting with the staff, people of Chase U, announced that he'd misused college funds to cover up debts that he owed. He owed thousands of dollars, that Chase U was under academic probation. Some people might lose their scholarships. Duke Hudson, Thea Hale, and Jason Jane were all like, what can we do to help? And so they're trying to brainstorm ways to raise money to help Mr. Chase get Chase U out of trouble. So the Chase U saga continues. We're going to see where this goes. Then we had the final qualifying match for the men. Tyler Bate taking on Eddie Thorpe, Joe Coffey, and Carmelo Hayes. Tyler Bate came out on top. Eddie Thorpe put up a good fight, but he was selling hurt ribs from courtesy of Braun Breaker from last week. Joe Coffey spine busted him on the steel steps, took him out of the match. But while it was happening, so there was like a kind of like a 3-way. But Tyler Bate hit Tyler Driver 97 on Joe Coffey for the pin, and Carmelo was too late to break it up. And so Big Strong Boy comes out on top. He's going to join Dijak, Braun Breaker, Briggs, and let's see, who is the other person in the match? Trick. I almost forgot Trick once. Can't forget Trick. Yeah, so speaking of those guys, they all came out one at a time. Dijak, Braun Breaker, Briggs, and Trick to exchange words, and then they got into a brawl just like the women, and they kept on fighting. And then to close out the show, one more thing. Before we got to the main event segment, which was a promo off between Baron Corbin and Ilya Dragunov, ahead of the NXT title match, Mello asked Avery Rain to go get him a meeting with HBK because he wanted a match. Because during the show, video from NXT Anonymous leaked out, throwing more shade at Mello, possibly being behind the attack on Trick Williams, showing that they were talking that night. And then after Trick left the room, Mello texted somebody on the phone and then left the room as well, throwing more shade his way. Lexus King keeps implying that he was behind it and bragging about it. Mello says that he wants to settle things with Lexus King, so HBK granted him a one-on-one match with Lexus King for Deadline. And then, Baron Corbin and Ilya had a promo off, exchanging words. Corbin did everything he could to get under his skin, cut some really good. This was really good stuff between the two of them. Really good promo work. Corbin, saying digging him about, being away from his family because he's the champion, because they're back in Europe and not in the States. And that because he's champion, he can't spend as much time with his family. Something we were just talking about with, people getting time off. Trying to get Ilya to snap and attack him. Did the, come at me, bro. Turned his back, but Ilya was able to maintain his control. And instead of attacking Corbin, gave him a friendly hug and whispered and said into his ear, "Only the dragon can destroy the dragon, pal." And got kind of disturbed Corbin quite a bit. But before they could say anything else, all the men from the Men's Survivor Challenge came out brawling. They brawled into the ring. They're hitting to stop each other, but Tyler Bate ended up coming out on top and laid with everybody else laid out to the show. So. Fun show. Good build toward NXT Deadline coming up on Saturday. How you feeling about Roxanne not being in the Iron Survivor Challenge, but she's got a steel cage match against Kiana James to kind of hopefully put an end to this feud between them?
I'm just ready for her to be done with it. That way she can move on to being.
Well, they were done after they had the hardcore match at the last NXT pay-per-view.
Because as soon as that was, I was like, all right, now we can move. We're not moving on.
No, it's not moving on.
Dang it. So, but yeah, that's how I feel about it. I'm just like, can we wrap this up so Roxanne get back to being in the NXT Women's Championship picture? I'm tired of it, or maybe the tag titles. I don't care. Just put her in something different because her and Kiana are just it was fine. It's fine. It helps Kiana. Roxanne doesn't need it at the end of it. She just doesn't. She should be on the main roster, but that's again, the women's division is so full of talent that even if you put Roxanne on the main roster, where are you going to go? So as much as a mark I am for her, it just wouldn't do it. But I guess to this would be a good question from GIF. Is Deadline worth a watch?
I think it's going to be worth a watch. There's some really good matches on paper here. I'm going to go over the card here real quick. This segue into our thoughts on how the show's going to look. So on the kickoff show, we got Axiom versus Nathan Frazier. That should be a good match. And then the main card, you got Carmella Hayes versus Lex King. Roxanne Perez versus Kiana James in a steel cage match to hopefully put an end to their feud. Dominic Mysterio versus Dragon Lee for the North American title. Then you got the 2 Iron Survivor matches. The women's match. It's got some good talent in it. You got Tiffany Stratton, Blair Davenport, Kalani Jordan, Fallon Henley, and Lash Legend. Lash Legend is like the weak link of that group. But after what she did with Otis, I'm willing to give her a shot and see if she can be able to shine in this match because She has not looked really that impressive to me in the ring previously. Being part of Metaphor has definitely helped her out in that heel stable. But all the other women I'm good with. Fallon Henley has really come a long way. She's really improved in the ring. So she might get a chance to sign. I'll get to my predictions here in a bit. But then the men's Iron Survivor match is stacked. You got Braun Breaker, Tyler Bate, Dijak, Trick Williams, and Josh Briggs. Now, you'd think Josh Briggs would be the weak link in this one, like Lash Legends. But Josh Briggs is actually pretty decent in the ring, even though he's normally a tag wrestler. Probably looking maybe to see if he can be able to shine and see if he's got potential as a single star down the line by putting him into this match. But Braun is awesome. Tyler Bate is awesome. Dijak is awesome. Trick is awesome. The men's one has the potential to be banger with these guys involved. And then, of course, the main event is NXT title, Ilya Dragunov defending against Baron Corbin, which I expect to actually be a good match. Corbin, say what you will about Corbin. I like what they're doing with Corbin in NXT. I like what they're doing with his character. He's cutting really good promos. The stuff between him and Ilya this week was fantastic. So I expect a really good match between the two of them.
I've always been a fan of Corbin in the ring. As far as him putting on solid
he delivers
matches.
in the ring.
He delivers in the ring. And he puts on good cooking videos on TikTok. so on that.
I think Giff. I think it's worth checking out. I think there's some potential for some really good matches. Like Dragon Lee versus Dirty Dom is going to be really good.
That SmackDown match is going to be really good.
Yeah, there's no match on here that I think is going to be a dud. There's a potential for this to be a really solid show. Lots of good matches and potentially great matches. Both the men and women's Iron Survivor challenges have potential to be really good. We'll just see how it's booked. But like the singles matches, I think are going to be fine. Roxanne and Kiana, I think, are going to kill it in the steel cage. That's going to get vicious. And it's a good chance for Roxanne to finally put Kiana James and her annoyance in her in her career to bed, so she can hopefully get back into the title picture for the women's title.
Yep, for sure. Can you explain to me the Iron thing?
All right,
how that works.
All right, so the rules for the Iron Survivor challenge match are, it's part Iron Man match, part mini rumble. So there's a 30-minute time limit, and you start with 2 of the wrestlers. The rest are like sequestered away, kind of like war games. So you start with 2 guys, and then every couple minutes, one of the other wrestlers comes out to join the match until it becomes like a 5-way. If you score a pinfall or submission, you earn a point. Like in an Iron Man match. Mm-hmm. But the drawback is if you get pinned or submitted, then you have to go into a penalty box for a certain amount of time. So you're out of the match if you get pinned. And whoever has the most falls when the time limit expires wins the match.
Okay, so like if it was like a Royal Rumble type match, Kane would win the Royal Rumble every time because he had the most eliminations type of thing, right?
Yeah, but it's still like pinfall submission,
right?
No DQ or count out because it's a multi-person match. Okay. So it's like a multi-person Iron Man with a penalty box if you take a fall.
Is this how many times have they done this in NXT? And
this is only the second time. They introduced this match type last year for the first time, okay. And Roxanne and Kiana were in that one. They both came out pretty good. It's something new and different that Sean and them cooked up for this.
I was about to say who was the brainchild or whose baby is it?
I think I know Sean was involved. I forget who else cooked it up with him.
Was A-Train involved with it?
Potentially, maybe even Road Dogg. Who knows? So it's a little different, and it has potential to be a lot of fun. It's going to be really chaotic. I don't know. There's a couple of potentials of who is going to win because whoever wins each of these matches gets a title shot The winner of the women's gets a title shot against the NXT Women's Championship down the line, and same for the men. They get a title shot against the men's championship. So whoever wins becomes the number one. It gets a title shot.
Okay. So this is like their version of the Royal Rumble, basically.
Yeah, it's like a small little like Iron Man / Rumble match.
Gotcha.
The penalty box is definitely interesting because it's like you don't want to be in the penalty box because when you're out of the match for a while, you can't be able to score any falls. And they had to. There was a point last year. Grayson Waller won the one last year. It was one of his big wins before he was called up the main roster. There's like there at one point there was like 2 or 3 people in the penalty box at the same time. So it's like, and they were fighting each other.
That makes sense. I was about to say like they're probably fighting.
For the women, I was thinking Blair Davenport had a shot, but with Nikita back, Nikita's probably going to find a way to fuck with Blair in this match as payback. My odds are I think Tiffany Stratton may come up with this. I'm leaning toward a heel winning this because Lyra's the champion. But a dark horse could be Fallon Henley. They seem to be pushing her pretty strong lately. But I wouldn't count out my girl Tiffany. It's like she's so there's a lot of talent involved. We'll see who gets to shine. The men, Braun's definitely not winning it. He's going to be on the main roster soon, so he's not going to win it. Briggs, he's in there just to shine. He's not going to win it. I don't see D-Jack probably also. For the men, I think it comes down to either Trick or Tyler Bates going to win. I'd lean toward Trick because how his meteoric rise has been.
I was going to say Trick,
but don't count out the big strong boy because of how good of a fucking worker big strong boy Tyler Bate is. But I put my feeling is it's either going to be Trick or Tyler Bate are my odds-on favorites to win the men's match.
I would say Trick, just because typically whoever stands tall at the go home show doesn't win the match. Now that's typically, right? So with Tyler Bate standing tall, therefore Trick would probably win. But I think
also
why would you have Trick win when you're trying to do the right
over the edge?
So why would you try and put either Trick gets the match and you're just doing that just to push the Carmelo thing, which I think is a waste. Just have him screw Trick at the Iron Man, therefore leading into this, and then have Tyler Bate go for the championship.
It's like it looks like Trick may win, but like maybe like the Mello turn happens and he kind of screws him out of it because out of jealousy. You know, it's like it's certainly possible. We'll see. Gotcha. There's a couple options. But as far as like the singles matches, I think Lexus King's going to beat Carmelo because Lexus King needs to be established. He's okay. He's not boring me. They just need to give him a little bit more to do. It's like I like the character's attitude. I think they just need to work on just give him a little bit more to do. I think he's going to get there. I think he's still got potential. I think he's going to win that. Roxanne should take out Kiana in the steel cage match. Go Roxanne. And I think Ilya is going to retain against Baron Corbin. They're going to have a hell of a match, and like Corbin may come close to winning it, but Ilya is going to remain the champion.
Don't make me boycott NXT booking if you don't put Roxanne over Kiana. Okay.
Yeah, don't make Josh really angry. He'll be even more angry than me.
I even looked up Roxanne's shirts. Make better merch for her. I don't like her shirts. But yeah, the other thing that kind of, from what I saw, the Chase U stuff annoys me from what I see.
I don't know where it's going.
No.
I appreciate them trying to do like a really in-depth storyline, but I don't know where it's going because they've been slow to reveal the details. It's like only now that he finally explained, like, well, it's like this is kind of what happened with the money. He's still not saying who he owes the money to. It's pretty obvious that it's Tony D and the family, you know, because it's like, you know, the third party was obviously Tony and company. Right. So it's like I don't know why that they're still holding back on that. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where this is going, but I'm willing to give it a chance. It's like I just hope it doesn't mean the end of Chase U, because Chase U has been a really fun overall storyline in it. It's really grown on me. I like the people involved, so it definitely feels like it's being dragged out a little bit. So we'll see. But no, I feel you about it. It's
for a person who just watches highlights of it, sorry to cut you off, but the person who just watches highlights of like, all right, Roxanne stuff, cool. All right, what are the other highlights of it? Like, all right, Trick, Carmelo, like I still get my fill in on the highlights, but when I saw the Chase U stuff, I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? Like you had Chase U, you've been building them for all this time. They're cool. They finally got them over. They win the tag titles for like 0.2 seconds, and then they turn around and do this odd thing. It's just from a really outsider perspective. Where are you going with this? Like, what's the end game here?
Right.
That's the one thing that I just don't understand where they're going with it. If they're trying to establish something.
Okay. Yeah. I just need to correct myself. It's like 5 wrestlers, 25-minute time limit. Keep going. Every 5 minutes, someone comes in until everyone's in after the first 15 minutes. Each time a wrestler scores a pinfall, submission, or it actually gets disqualified. So there are disqualifications. Even though it's a multi-person match, you can still get disqualified. Gain a point. Wrestler who gets pin submitted or gets DQ'd, it goes into the penalty box for 90 seconds. So you're in there for a minute and a half. So you're out of the match for like 90 seconds. It's a long time. Then, whoever has the most fall points at the end wins.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, I definitely it's like, is it an advantage to be first, or is it not because you're going the whole time? Like, it's
that's the thing. It's kind of like with the Rumble. It's like, so someone may want to come in last because like the other people kind of worn themselves out and may be able to take advantage and get some easy pinfalls on people.
Right.
So yeah, there's definitely strategy involved. So
as long as it sounds chaotic, but if they've done it, if it turns out the right way and you put the right people in it, it's going to be good. At least it's not those typical like triple threat matches where it's like, all right, these two guys, then one goes out and lays down forever, and then the other two guys go in, and then the other guy lays down forever. Like is it pretty much kind of a nonstop action? It doesn't feel too choreographed.
And this is going to be in the Total Mortgage Arena in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Okay.
So it's like, I like when it's like they get good crowds for the NXT pay-per-views when they get out of the Performance Center. So should have a pretty good crowd for this show.
Okay, nice. Anything else?
One other thing I found that I want to get in here before we're done. I just saw this. I guess it was just posted earlier today. I didn't see it. Braun Strowman was interviewed on a TV station probably near where he is. It's like it says News 18. I'm not sure where that's located.
I think I know what you're talking about.
He just gave an update about him recovering because he had to get a neck fusion. He had a cervical fusion on his C4 and C5. They had to put a metal plate and 4 screws into his neck.
Damn.
Doc cleared me to start lifting weights. Major blessing because I was going crazy, sitting about 8 weeks, not being able to do anything. I've lost 35 pounds just sitting around for 8 weeks because I was eating like normally do since I wasn't lifting. So I didn't need all those extra calories. The goal for me is to be back by 2024.
Okay.
He also talked about how, Bray Wyatt's passing has motivated him to get into the best shape he possibly can and get back in the ring. I wouldn't be here where I am in my career without him. It's like
I saw that quote.
Yeah. I'm not just coming back to the ring for me. I'm coming back for him.
Right.
So, yeah. So it sounds like Strowman's making good progress recovering from his neck surgery. So we'll see him back in the WWE ring sometime next year.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I mean, yeah, obviously speedy recovery for Braun. I know he was dealing with injuries there. But, it kind of when you talk about the gym, that was another quote that Randy said during his Impulsive interview. He said, if you like going to the gym, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
So, and everyone started laughing because what he's talking about. He was like, if you're just going to the gym for, and just doing it, but if you go there to work, you don't like looking forward to the gym, but you have to do it.
Yeah.
So on that, but anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. Obviously, leave a comment in down below if they should have gone ahead and gave the title to Cody a year ago, or are you happy that they've kind of done filler feuds for Cody leading up to WrestleMania in Philadelphia? And who do you think will be the WrestleMania card? Do you think CM Punk and Seth Rollins the no duh, or you think they're gonna swerve, no pun intended, with Strickland?
What's this man going to be doing next?
Yeah. What's he going to be doing next? Only time will tell. Like, subscribe, ring that bell so when we go live the next week on Thursday. Will be some changes going forward because we actually have other things that we do in life that may be a little schedule confliction, but we will let you all know as soon as we get that figured out. So just bear with us. Apologies for that. But we will still be here next Thursday at their allotted time. And feel free to join. Please, patreon.com/RuckusEV. Join the rocket ship, as Bobby Burger says. Go on this journey with us. And
join the rocket ship, baby.
Yes, and as we say always, we will see you next time. I kind of blinked there. So, see you.